per area, actually, much as we're using inputs, the yields are not impressive. What does that mean? We need to go back and evaluate what kind of inputs we are using on our sugarcane, so that even the issues of soil analysis, the farmers need to be encouraged to do soil analysis so that they use the recommended inputs, because you can be using inputs but are not really of value to the crop. And as he rightly put it, all those recommendations are in one report, which after we leave here, we'll sit down and reevaluate. Then we'll see who does what, and encourage farmers to always do soil analysis before applying inputs like fertilizers. And the government is subsidizing now fertilizers. So as the subsidy is rolled out, we need to know what kind of fertilizer will go to the cane farmers, because it's not a blanket recommendation.
What I would say is that we've made some progress in the sugar industry, but as has been said, the progress are not on the increment, if I would call it, on the increment graph. We are increasing, but a little at a time, as opposed to what we expected. For example, last year, we produced over 700,000 metric tons of sugar from 16 sugar mills. 5 years ago, we had about 10 sugar mills that produced about 430,000 metric tons of sugar. So when you look at that increase, it is progressive, but not at the rate we would wish it to be. From the productivity perspective, we've increased the yield per hectare from around 51 tons per hectare to now around 68 tons per hectare. But remember, that 68 is still too low according to our expectations. We should be talking about yields of over 100 tons per hectare. So when we think of this sector, we see a lot of hope, because the number of investors in the sugar industry is on the increase. And it is our hope that if that increase in investors in the sugar industry can be matched with farmers developing interest again in sugarcane production, then in the next 2 to 3 years we should be self-sufficient in sugar production.
More sugar than it needs for domestic consumption. We have the capacity to produce more to satisfy production and also export. we are also the capacity to produce sugar much cheaper than we are doing now. You see what I mean? And that will mean that we'll be competitive. We'll not worry about these commercial rules and all that. We'll be competitive. We shall be producing for our domestic market. The importation of sugar will not be possible because it is cheap enough here. So at the moment there is an artificial shortage, I would say, that we need so much. We must import so much sugar every year because there's a shortage. The shortage is artificial, if you ask me. We have the capacity to produce more sugar than we are producing now, less costly, more efficiently for our domestic consumption and even export. And if we do that, then we have enough raw material for manufacturing other things, the byproducts we are talking about. And that value addition will help us really much more than anything else, because you need value addition for your economy to grow. If you just depend on raw materials all the time, you're not growing, you are subsisting. Yeah.